What's good, everybody? It is your girl, Tika Deshawn, right here at All Things Ruthless, home of the Ruthless Addicts. Now, people have been asking, how did Malcolm die? How did Malcolm die? Well, I'm going to give you guys the insight as to what happened to Malcolm, at least based on Tyler Perry's Ruthless, okay? What we've seen so far. With that being said, I'll just say this. Many people did not like the character Malcolm. I, for one, was not that person. I had my ups and my downs with Malcolm, but I absolutely still love the character of Malcolm. He was very complex. He had a backstory, and it's just unfortunate that we did not get to see the backstory as to why Malcolm made the decisions that he made. Now, when we first met Malcolm, he was a very good agent. He, worked for Mac, and he did some things that Mac told him to do. He was the one that actually showed us that Lynn had taken herself to the Rakadushi compound. He had a moment where he actually told his wife, "I love you," saying it in Espanol, "Te quiero," love you, baby. I was like, okay, I'm here for it, Malcolm. You love your wife, of course. And then we see some moments where were not the very best sides of Malcolm. We saw where Malcolm cheated on his wife with Sarah, and then we find out that he cheated on his wife with Lynn. However, that still didn't take away the fact that this was just one of my favorite characters. Again, he had issues, and just like any human, we have the right to, have issues, and we have the right to be able to be forgiven for those issues that we have. We may get that recognition through therapy. We may get that recognition through just prayers, whatever the case may be. We do have that right. And so this is why, I love the character of Malcolm. Retribution is everything. And I felt like we weren't given the opportunity for Malcolm to be able to show a better side to himself. Again, I don't know specifically what it was that made Malcolm fall out of love with his wife, Cynthia. He told her, that she had gained weight, that she drank too much. And y'all, keep it real. Well, every time we saw Cynthia, we saw her with a glass of wine or trying to open up a bottle of wine. But that does not take away from the fact that Malcolm cheated on his wife. But is it really punishable by unalivement? I'm just saying, I don't know if we'll ever see Cynthia again. Is there really a reason for her to return to the show? I don't really know. Again, but, it is what it is in that aspect. Again, we found out that Malcolm slept around with Sarah. He slept around with Lynn. And by the way, Lynn was Cynthia's cousin. The only way I see Lynn or Cynthia coming back to the Washington, D.C. area is to claim the remains of her husband, Malcolm. Will we get to see that moment? That's going to be very interesting. They should at least give us that closure. We know that Malcolm was confused to the fact that Mac was dirty. He didn't know that Mac was dirty. And so was Malcolm really the worst agent out there? So they called him the worst agent out there. Was he really, or was it Mac? Anyway, again, I'm not going to make it about Mac. We see where Malcolm made his way to the Rakadushi compound. And he goes in there with the pretenses of, I'm going to, help shut this Rakadushi compound down. But then he also goes in there to torment and tease Andrew. He goes in there with Lynn, and this is after a high binge, a moment where a binge where they literally just was on drugs all night long, sexing all night long, and then they decide, well, we're going to go to the Rakadushi compound again. In his correct brain, he was thinking, I'm just going to go in and I'm going to help shut this whole thing down. But then again, he was also going to use it to mess with Andrew, which we found out it wasn't the right thing to do. It wasn't the right thing to do. There were moments where Andrew had to save Malcolm. He also told Malcolm, hey, don't tell these people I'm FBI or it's going to be bad for all of us. But of course, because Malcolm had a weak moment where he was going through withdrawals, he went ahead and told them, your boy Andrew is the agent. He's the agent. So yeah, he snitched. I'm just saying he was going through withdrawals. Yes, I am making excuses for Malcolm. But then we also see a moment where Malcolm held up Ruth, and Ruth played him. Like, she played him like a whole fiddle, but he was literally trying to survive. They had already put him in the cooler, that he had already been beaten and drugged, and then also being with having withdrawals was another reason why Malcolm needed to get off of that compound. However, unfortunately, it did not work in his favor. Ruth, again, like I said, Ruth played him. She pretended as if she was going to help him. Now, initially, and somewhat at the end, y'all, she did kind of help him get off the compound, or at least get beyond the gates. However, I don't think that was a successful, I know that wasn't a successful plan, because we're going to find out a little bit later on that Malcolm has been unalived, or that he is deceased. We'll get into how we found out that Malcolm had been unalive. But, Malcolm was one of those complex characters, as I stated before, that, I just felt like he should have been given a second chance. But y'all, with that being said, I just want to say that I am going to miss the character of Malcolm. He was the one that brought in a reckless energy, but a good energy. And then I just got to say, I'm definitely going to miss I am Anthony Bless, aka Anthony Bless, also known as Malcolm. He brought the theme song to the show, Tyler Perry's Ruthless. And, this is how we find out that Malcolm is unalive. Let me get to that real quick. We find out that Desiree lets River know that, hey, we found, thank you for telling us where the remains of Agent Green were. Now, nobody knew that he was out of there, but River didn't even know that he was unalive. He just thought he knew where the body would, or where he would be. And so, yeah, we find out that Agent Green is officially unalived. I'm going to give y'all a clip to listen to real quick, and then I'll be right back.
Hello.
Michael, thank you for leading us to Agent Green's remains.
He's dead. I didn't know.
It's fine. It doesn't matter.
So as you can see, Desiree confirms the unalivement of Agent Malcolm Green. And y'all, I was not excited to hear that, but it is what it is. All good things must come to an end. And this is how we find out that Agent Malcolm Green is unalived. With that being said, drop in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts. How you feeling about the departure of Agent Malcolm Green? Also, y'all, I just want to say and send out an amazing salute to Anthony Bless. Thank you so much for giving us the theme song for Tyler Perry's Ruthless. We will forever think of you when we hear this song. We will forever, understand that this is one of the best theme songs out there, no matter what anyone says. Also, you guys, I just want to dive in and say, don't think that this is the end of Anthony Bless. He definitely has new music coming. He has a new song out right now entitled Keep Running, but he has a new video or visual. Literally, it's going to be a masterpiece when I tell you. With that being said, this new visual that's coming out is going to star, or it's going to have our girl Yvonne Sinat Jones, aka Tally. It's going to have Robert Craighead, aka Sheriff Conley. That's going to be a part of this visual as well. So I think you guys need to just head on over to Instagram at I am Anthony Bless, as well as on YouTube, right here on YouTube at I am Anthony Bless. Go ahead and tap those notifications, hit that subscribe button. Make sure that you're prepared so when Keep Running comes to the screen, you will be ready. So again, thank you, Anthony Bless. We absolutely appreciate you for who you are and what you have contributed to Tyler Perry's Ruthless. And we look forward to more and more and more of Anthony Bless. Okay? All right, y'all. I'm out of here. Stay ruthless.
They should have warned you I'm coming. Now you got no choice. The exhaust from the Rolls Royce. He's ghost. Now I'm talking Phantom, the homeboy. They should have told you we run it. High class with a fine ass. Time dance with the finance. I'm a kick, slip, stick. Then you get in my hands. 1, 2 when I drop shit, stop it. I am a light, keep it positive. This